One of the questions everybody's going to ask me is, how do you turn two identical shapes? And the simple answer is I don't. You're going to have a piece in the center that's going to be the bottle stopper and the corkscrew center of it, where this bushing is. It's shiny, it'll draw the eyes to it. Do I have to be accurate on it? No. But what I want to do is have shapes that are close to each other. When you see these things, most people have a tendency to take these and just go from this bushing to this bushing and make it straight. Having sold thousands of these, and I looked it up this morning, we started selling these in 2006. So I've been turning them for a very long time. I like curves. The people buying them like curves. The ones that sell first will be the one with the curve. The one who's straight sells towards the end, if it sells at all. So I'm going to take, and the reason why I cleared these off so that I could tell my full length, I'm going to go 1/3 of the way, and I'm going to put a line. And I'm going to go over here approximately 1/3 of the way and put a line. Is it perfect? Nope. Call it artistic. So I'm not going to use this in a bevel rubbing manner. I'm not going to be rubbing against that bevel. I'm very aggressive, so I have to worry about putting too much pressure on everything and bending that mandrel. So I'm going to use this in a scraping position, which is down on its side using this area here. But a small portion of it, I'm not using the entire length of that. It also allows me to go in either direction. And I've got givens that I can't get away from. I've got an end and I've got an end. In this case, I'm going to have, where that line is going to be my high point. Mine is gone now. Let's come to the other side. Again, I'm scraping, I'm not cutting. So if you're using a Rockler tool, Woodcraft, Easy Wood, it's the same thing. I'm going to get close to the bushing, but I'm not going to get 100% of the way there. And there's a very specific reason for that, but I'll show you that in a second. Now we're going to come back here and work this. And I'm trying to get this one to look similar to this one over here. Again, it's not going to be perfect. That little screeching you're hearing is my tool actually hitting the bushings. And everybody's going to be going, oh man, you just dulled your tool. Not really. The bushings are softer than the tool steel. So I just told you that there's a very specific reason that I didn't go all the way to the bushings. So what usually happens is you usually end up with one side standing more proud of the bushing than the other. So the simple way to take care of that, pull your bushings back, move this, turn it 180 degrees, slide your bushing up, take this one and slide it 180 degrees the opposite way, and then gently tighten that back in. And now when I turn this back on, I'll actually be able to see a shadow line, and I'm going to turn that away, and then I will have something that goes right to the bushings, and it won't be oblong. slide this a little bit further that way. So if I was rubbing a bevel, I can't cut uphill. But because I'm scraping, I can go in either direction. Take your finger along it. I know that I am now round 100% of the way. So now it's just a matter of finishing these cuts up and getting it down to the bushing. I shouldn't call them cuts, probably call them scrapes. There, I'm 100% where I want it to be. So, get my tool out of the way, grab my sandpaper over here. I'm going to sand 220, 320, 400, 600, 800. When you sand, your first one is just like a tool. It's a cutting, you can cut and shape with it. Every one beyond that, you're just taking out the scratch marks of the previous grit. If you read the finishes, also I'm going to tell you to stop at 320. This is already a resin impregnated dyed blank, so it's tougher than the others. I'm going to go to 800 because that's what I find to be the best finish. Going to 2,000 or 20,000 or whatever it is that you want to go to, that's entirely up to you. But I'm telling you, it's not necessary to do all that. So I'm going to turn the lathe back on. I'm going to hold the paper, my two fingers behind it, and I'm going to go on that shape. And this is the 220. I'm just following that shape. The 220 also does something else for me, and that is, if I had an area that I had torn grain, that torn grain will fill with the sanding fibers and stuff that are coming off from here, sand, and it will turn it white, or you'll see a white streak go all the way around it. I don't have that one with this one, but it is something for you to look at or look for. So that was 220. This one's 320. Doesn't take a whole lot to do this. This is 400. This one's 600. And this one's 800. Sometimes when you're doing this, you'll see a white streak. Stop the lathe and look at it, because oftentimes you think you have torn grain and it's like this here where the white is actually showing through the wood, and you can sand as much as you want, you're not going to take that out. So we now have gone to 800 grit. I'm going to get a couple pieces of paper towel here. Alright, so on my paper towel I've got half sheets. I'm going to fold the half sheet in half, and then I'm going to do it by a third and by a third. It leaves me with a longer piece. I'm going to fold that over, and I'm going to make a trough for my finish to go into. It's based off from when I was doing furniture and trying to do a French finish on it, and you would have this wad and you would put it on, all the finish into it. So that's basically the same thing. And if you do a lot of straight grain woods, or you do woods that do not have, are not resin impregnated, you're going to want to build up heat to drive the finish down into the product. So I'm going to use hot crystal coat. I've been using it for decades, like this stuff. So I'm just going to lay some across there, fold it up, and then I'm going to apply it by wiping it on before I turn the lathe on. I am going to turn the lathe on and use this. And notice that I'm using paper towel and not a rag. If this happens to catch, take your hands away and just let it sit here and flap. If it was a rag and it caught and you had your hand near it, it could catch your fingers, drawing you into the lathe. Always paper towel, never a rag on the lathe. So I've got the finish on there, turning this back on. And I'm building up heat in my fingers. I can feel it. Kind of pushing melting the wax, because that's a wax-based product. I take another paper towel, clean one. So I use one to apply the finish and one to dry the finish off. So you notice I got this hand is pushing this down, and this one is holding the thing. If it catches, take your hands away immediately. Don't be a hero. So now this portion of it is done, and I'm going to assemble it into the mechanism back on the drill press. There you go. Now you can see what it looks like before I take it off. Alright, inside of the box, 2 brass tubes that I have a drawer full of them, so I use those first. This is the corkscrew and bottle stopper combination. These 2 ears are what these are going to go on to, and these 2 end plugs are what we're going to use to go into them. Alright, so the end plugs are going to get pressed into this, but they don't always go in. They're a very tight fit, and they tend to squeeze out, which sometimes cracks the wood or cracks the acrylic. So that's where our reamer comes back in. As long as you can get it aligned in there and start it in. Oops, that one doesn't want to go. There we go. That one started in. Let's get the other one. You don't want to ream this out so much that it just falls into place. If you do that, apply some CA glue to the inside of this tube and set it to the side to let it dry a little bit so that it doesn't run down the inside of the tube. There we go. So those are ready to go. This is called an elevator bolt. I don't know if you can see that all that well. Can you? Yes. So it's an elevator bolt. It's also a bolt that they use on the back of delivery vans with the roll-up doors. It goes through, it's got a nut that's on the inside of the door. It's got a square head here, and then this is flat, so nobody can break into the van or whatever they're going to do to it. So we're going to use the flat side of it in the drill press. And we're going to use it as a press. So we've got this up in here. We're going to press this down onto it. See if I can work around the camera. That's all the way down. That one's all the way down. Doesn't make any sense if it cracks it for you to have already done this part of it. And you can do this in one of two ways. You can do one individual side. I just happen to do both at the same time. Just trying to find something that's the good looking side of it. You won't have a camera to work around. Obviously, I'm not used to working around a camera. So, that's it. This is a dyed green box elder burl that I dyed and stabilized myself onto the corkscrew bottle stopper combination from Penn State, BS7. And it gives somebody good purchase to be able to pull that cork out. So there's that. Hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please give me a thumbs up. Subscribe would be great, and let me know. So like I told you at the beginning of this, when I go to a show, I sell these at $38 a piece. Oftentimes I run a special on my website. I have them set at 42, and I mark it down to 38 and have a special going on there. You're going to sell these to people who like wine lovers, somebody who knows a wine lover, open houses, all of these things. It's a great all-around present, whether it's birthday, open house, Christmas, whatever. And like I said, we started doing these in 2006, so 18 years ago. We have sold thousands upon thousands of these. So good luck, folks. Hope you enjoyed. So one of the things I forgot to say was that when we send this out or we sell this at shows, we have these bags that they go into. They're available from Penn State. I believe they have them in the dark green, there's a black, and I think there's a maroon. There used to be. So finish the product off for your customer. They'll appreciate it every time. It gives it a much better, cleaner way to sell it. When we're selling it at shows, we have some that are closed up like this, sitting on the bags. We have some that are open so that they can see that it is a corkscrew and bottle stopper combination. And believe it or not, the couples that come in, the wife will come in and check everything out in the booth, and the husband who stands at the end of the booth or the opening of the booth waiting for his wife, girlfriend, whatever she is, and we'll stop playing with these things, and then he'll show it to his significant other and say, honey, hey, take a look at this. Don't you think that so-and-so would like this? You know they drink wine. So it's just another avenue for you to be able to sell it. I hope it helps.